Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Morning. I am Abosadi Adenero Aderemi. Today on the program, focus is on the education sector, and we are exploring JAMB 2026, beyond data and fees, the real issues that Nigerians care about. And JAMB says registration for UTME candidates for the year 2026. And these candidates include those from foreign countries. The registration will run from Monday, 26th of January, that is yesterday, until Saturday, 28th of February, 2026. And JAMB Registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, said the board would rely only on data generated from the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC. And he advised candidates with biodata issues to resolve such issues before they register. Professor Oloyede also announced that 3 categories of e-pins would be available for the 2026 exercise. They are the direct entry pin at 5,700 naira, UTME only without mock at 7,200 naira, and UTME with mock at 8,700 naira. And the JAMB registrar also explained that the charges cover the JAMB application fee of 3,500 naira, reading text 1,000 naira, CBT center registration service charge 700 naira, CBT UTME service charge 1,000 naira, bank charges of 500 naira, and an additional 1,500 naira for the optional mock UTME. Later on the show today, the phone lines will open, and I really look forward to hearing from you at home and on what you think about different issues as it relates to JAMB and the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. We'll talk looking at issues from fees, the amount now, to dates for the examination. Also talking about direct entry guidelines as set out by JAMB. We'll be exploring the 16-year age rule and underage waivers. We would also touch on the rising UTME costs and concerns about access, because that also exists. And then we would also look at the efficiency of the National Identification Number, NIN, because JAMB said that is what it's relying on as a gatekeeper, because there are concerns about exclusion. We'll also talk about system integrity and public trust. Do note that the exam would hold from Thursday, 16th of April to Saturday, 25th rather, of April 2026, while the optional mock UTME will hold on Saturday, 28th of March. My guest on the program today is Jake Epele. He is a policy and governance analyst and education access advocate. Mr. Epele, good morning and welcome to the program.
Morning, and thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start with a question that is quite personal. JAMB was established in 1978, February 13. So let's start off with whether you as an individual at some point had to sit for, whether it was UME at that time or UTM, any exam organized by JAMB. So you tell us about your experience, and then also tell us, what the cost for obtaining the form, applying for the exam was back then, so we can then make comparisons with what is obtainable today.
Sometimes you're asking me a very, very, very funny question. I'm too old to remember some of those things, but all the same, it was easy then compared to what it is now. There were greater focus on the quality and integrity of the system. There weren't the abuse that we are seeing today. The age of AI was not there. Technology was not playing its role. However, one can say that then there was some credibility in the system and those who were running it until the takeover of Professor Oloyede. There's been a collapse of the system, and people were fast losing trust of the integrity of the examination body until Professor Oluyede came and using every ounce of technology and his own staking his own personal integrity to bring noticeable credibility to the system. The amount of money that is being charged today wasn't the amount of money that was charged then. However, it's on record that this particular policy did not change the amount of money that JAMB was charging. I remember texting Professor Oluyede some 72 hours ago, and he emphasized that
some candidates had to resit the examination to even the point where the JAMB registrar cried on national television. So talk to us about that, because that is also another challenge that has gotten Nigerians and those who are interested in the education sector in Nigeria concerned.
Okay, so let's look at simple. I think I'd like to, first of all, thank God for the life of Professor Oluyede, who showed empathy, who also demonstrated that he is himself. He did not in any way show that he's not human. He showed, and publicly, unlike most Nigerian leaders and African leaders, publicly took responsibility for the issues that he ought not to take responsibility, to be honest with you. Now, you have to understand that there is no technology, there is no system that is absolutely perfect. We don't have any perfect system. If anybody is thinking of any system that is perfect, then that person has to go and live in heaven. So definitely, there was some glitches. Many of them, I can tell you, JAMB wasn't likely responsible for, but he took responsibility for that because he's the leader of the organization, you know. So in terms of technological deployment, I can tell you for free that JAMB has an unmatched technology. And there is no doubt during the course of my leadership of the Special Committee on Examination Infraction, we did interrogate whether there was an internal sabotage within JAMB. And to be honest with you, we couldn't find, because the safety net that they've created is robust enough to track anyone that logs in, what time you logged in, the position where you logged in. So I'm not a technological expert, but I'm just giving you the more that the information that I relied on
All right, Mr.
experts like the Vice Chancellor of the University of Jos, who was the head of the subcommittee on cyber security during the investigation. So
and what year,
JAMB
Mr.
has a
Pele, what
very
year did you chair this infraction committee?
Oh, just last year. Just
All
last
right.
year.
So
Yeah,
it
the
was in the
report
aftermath
was all
of
over. I
the
came on your network.
examination, right, and the public outcry.
No, well, I think yes, it was after that. But my committee did not investigate those issues. There was another committee.
Okay.
My committee investigated last year issues that were trumped up, and we made some very robust recommendation, and many of those recommendations JAMB is implementing. And so you also notice that we went on a massive awareness. I took some members of the committee and we went on a massive awareness. We were on your network, we were on several networks, and we brought up the issues, which Oluyede did not in any way try to micromanage. He gave us the open check to go about our investigation and to also talk about our investigation.
So are your recommendations being implemented, or are they just lying on paper on the shelf?
Absolutely. No, they're being implemented as we speak. The aspect that I spoke with Dr. Benjamin, who is the JAMB spokesperson, is the aspect of awareness. And awareness is not JAMB only prerogative. Awareness, it's in my place to bring awareness. For instance, and I'm sure you will ask me the issues of persons with albinism and what is going on in JAMB about the concessions. I talk about it. I was on another network a couple of minutes ago talking about it. The fact that there's something that is going on in JAMB is not an absolute cancellation. It's a pause so that the wrong people will not take advantage of it. So awareness is one aspect that I believe JAMB needs to do more. And we also in the civil society space are doing a lot to contribute. But government also has a responsibility. The likes of NOA and Ministry of Information, all the media houses, you do have a responsibility to bring to the awareness of your viewers very important public issues and sentiments like we're discussing.
And that's exactly the reason we're having this conversation, so that we can bring these issues to the fore. People can learn from it and know what steps to take, especially as they sit this examination. Yes, indeed, we would talk about people with disabilities because there are concerns about exclusion from the examination, especially now that we have gone digital. Now it's a computer-based test, and there are lots of questions as to how well equipped, first, are the centers to accommodate the students? How knowledgeable are the candidates to operate these technologies when, they enter the examination hall? So if you could speak to those.
Thank you very much for that question. Listen, and that's why I kept telling institutions like JAMB, you need to come out, let people know what you're doing. Sometimes you need to learn to blow your trumpet. There is what is called Equal Opportunity Group, JAMB Examination for Equal Opportunity Group, JOG, JEOG, chaired by the erudite professor, Professor Okebukola, very disciplined, no nonsense man. And he's been chairing that for years, and then has created positions of vice chairman 1, vice chairman 2. I am vice chairman 2. So I am one of the invigilators of the special examination that has created a platform for persons with disabilities, specifically the blind and the deaf, and the opportunity and the platform is expanding to accommodate more people, people with albinism and those who are truly physically challenged. JAMB, please listen to this. JAMB will ensure that they are paid, they are brought to a hotel, a 4 5-star hotel. The JAMB will put them there and bring them to designated examination centers across the country. These exams hold at the same time, and there is over 98% reasonable accommodation. So those who can't see, someone will read for them, they will provide the answer. Those who can hear, someone will interpret for them through sign language, and they'll provide the answer. Those who have one form of disability or the other that impairs them from carrying out their civic right of writing exams are assisted without compromising the basic requirement for meritocracy. So they go through all the processes and the system to get their exams, including a time and a half. Let me explain. A time and a half is a global concept of time increase. For instance, I am a person with albinism. I am short-sighted, so it will take me more amount of time to read through a statement and be able to see it right. Most times I have to literally squint to be able to see what I'm reading. And so for that reason, if examination is for 1 hour, the institutions like JAMB will give you extra 30 minutes, which meets the time and a half threshold, which is a global standard practice. It's not something, I remember when I did propose that on the floor of the National Council for Education, they thought that they were trying to do us a favor. And I said, no, this is a global UNESCO standard procedure where you are expected to give more time for the people who need more time to do what other people will have less time to do. So there are a lot of things that JAMB is doing that is not in the public space. But
all right,
job
Mr.
is in the
Pele,
public space.
but then,
Job
Mr. Pele, these centers, these specialized centers for persons with persons with disabilities now,
with disability,
yes, are they spread across? I mean, how easily accessible are they?
Look, listen, Oluyede is a true champion of disability. Again, I don't speak for him. I'm just being very honest and stating the opposite.
Obvious.
Yes, the obvious. Thank you very much. Oluyede is very compassionate, if you know him. Every venue is accessible. Every venue. Where that venue is not accessible, he will go, including bringing money from his pocket. There were places in JAMB that I pointed out in 12 hours, Oluyede and JAMB staff have provided the accessible pathway that we pointed out. So that's the extent.
So can we say,
which
yes,
so
I understand you, Mr. Pele. So I just want to be sure so that Nigerians would know. Are you trying to say that all of the centers across the country have these, special arrangements in place where persons who are whether visually impaired or with hearing impairments can access to write the exams, or are there special centers where they have to specially select while registering, or is it that when they fill in the fact that they have special needs, then the JAMB authorities would automatically, fix them in such centers? That's just what I want to find out.
Yeah, no, you've answered the question. Yes, these designated centers, in most cases, Oluyede will go and supervise it and see things for himself. However, listen, I'm a champion of disability. I cannot come here to say what is not there. That would endanger everything I work for. So again, I'm stating the obvious. It's there. I can share pictures. I can come back on your show and show you pictures of these centers. I have been responsible to ensure compliance. So these things exist. And this time around, I'm going to supervise several states as the vice chairman too. So it will not happen. And anybody that knows me and the organization I work for knows that even when you have an event and you don't have a sign language interpreter or you don't provide a ramp, sometimes I cancel, I don't go, because I would not be there to endorse evil, and that it's evil on the part of the society if you don't make provision for people that ought to enjoy certain privileges and rights to enjoy those rights. Giving us those things they're not tokenism. You're not doing us a favor. Disability inclusion is a right-based approach to getting things done. You don't give me an accessible blackboard that writing things in large print. You don't do that to me as a favor. It's my right.
Indeed, Mr. Pele, it is human rights, and it's a right that must not be infringed upon, but must be protected by all of society. Let's look at some of the requirements for this examination. The issue of age. Before now, it's been a case of you have to be 18. I mean, for eventual admission now, you could write the exam, yes, but for you to secure admission into government-run tertiary institutions, you must be 18 by the 1st of October of that year. But it does appear we're looking at 16 year now. There seems to be some kind of a waiver. Talk to us about that age requirement for applying and setting the examination.
Okay, so issues in this country, we take them out of context. By all means, let's even look at the morality of this decision as we look at the agitation. If you take into cognizance the developmental progress of an individual, take for instance a child, there are many minors that are in the university community that ought not to be there. You know, they don't have the maturity to handle the complexities of life that is required when they don't have a parent in a very complex free community. The university community, the tertiary community, is not like the secondary or primary school where the headmaster controls everything. They tell you what clothes to wear, what clothes not to wear. So on one side, I think it's a very good policy if it's properly implemented, and there is a system of verification that will make it impossible for people to hijack the process and claim what they are not. You know, there's a need for our children to develop and mature before we introduce them into certain environment or even a level of academic exposure. Saying that, there is also an exception that we need to explore, and that exception is that if a child, which is what most parents, the narrative that they push this narrative that, oh, my child is 14, 15, and he's exceptional. I don't want to stop him because he's brilliant. This policy does not in any way infringe on them. Rather, it promotes them to come forward. Come forward and prove your ingenuity. Come forward and prove that you're a genius. And you will still get the opportunity. That whether you're 16 or 14, 15, you will still get the opportunity. However, there are people that don't have even the academic maturity, the physical maturity, the mental maturity to go into such a complex community. And that's why some of them at early age are introduced to drugs, are introduced to cult, and so on and so forth. So I am very clear on what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that if you're 16 and you don't attain or belong to this exceptional group, please stay back, mature, and come into the community. But if you are, then the onus is on their parents to make sure that they are protected, because it doesn't make sense for me, for a child that ought to be protected and guided, to be introduced into a wall of chaos, and which is detrimental to that person's growth. So there is an exception to the rule, and that exception is that if you are an exceptional student, you will still get the opportunity. That's change our immediate environment as we make progress in changing our outside environment. This is one thing that I appeal to you today to do. Let it start with me and you.
Indeed, Mr. Pele, you know, this is a continual project, something that's been ongoing. You know, there are usually just different avenues because everyone, I believe, has a role to play in achieving this future that we all desire. We do need to take a break now, Mr. Pele. When we return from the break, we'll look at other issues as they have to do with the JAMB, and which has now announced the date for application and for its examination for candidates in the year 2026. Please stay with us, everyone. We'll be back in a moment. Many thanks for staying with us on this morning. We are discussing JAMB and its 2026 examination, which date has now been announced to be from 16th of April to 25th of April, while the mock examination would hold on 28th of March. So if you have a child, a ward, someone who is ready to sit the examination, it's time for you to register and get ready for the examination. My guest is Jake Epele. Mr. Epele, good to have you, still with us on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's now look at another angle to this. Candidates who desire to sit UTME are required to register with their NIN, their National Identification Number. But we also know that there seems to be some challenge with getting that for those who don't already have it, because we hear that NIMSI offices are practically shut. So how do we navigate this? Or would it be a case of excluding these persons who are of age, of maturity, and who are willing to just go all out for it?
We did conduct a very thorough and robust interrogation of data capturing, data management, data deployment. And from our report, there's empirical evidence that the NIM system, the organization, the deployment seems to be the most effective and efficient. Look, truth be told, no matter what system you have in place, the organization will not come to your house and push you to go and register. You have to go to their accredited business centers and outlets and submit your documents and everything for them to upload, and then you will get the PIN that is required. And so I'm wondering if anybody can tell me which other way. JAMB doesn't have the architecture, the technological architecture to start capturing, and that would take enormous amount of time to do that. So the only means and the only medium is going through the identification agency that the federal government established, which I think they are doing their best to do a good job, even though there's a whole lot to be done in terms of the category of people that they provide this information. There are people that do have challenges with their iris. Persons without albinism were one of those that they are not able to capture, but they use facial recognition or fingerprints to be able to capture these individuals. So the responsibility is on the candidates to go and register. Yes, there may be challenges. Yes, there may be network downtime and all that. But I'm sure if you take the responsibility to go out there for 1 or 2 days, you would have been able to do that. So you can't blame JAMB here, because there's no other way they can capture your data except you can have yourself register and have that EPIN so that they can work with that. It's inevitable, But then management of the identification center needs to be a bit more flexible, and they do have centers across the country, but it's not enough for a population of close to 270 million people. It's not enough.
All right, and if we talk about the requirements and guidelines for direct entry candidates, people who have gone through some call it foundation, some call it diploma, and then they want to, translate from there to the second year, 200 level in universities, for instance. Talk to us, tell us what you know about that.
Be a little bit more explicit. You're talking about now what happens at the tertiary institutions, right? Hello?
I can hear you, Mr. Pele.
I missed you. Maybe I had a network downtime. What exactly do you want to do?
Yes, I mean, for direct entry candidates, every now and again there could be a bit of shift in what is required for them to sit the examination and, to have that opportunity to move to 200 level, as it were. So I was just wondering what you're able to tell us about it. Any hopes? Is there any significant change? Is there anything they should know about from your own point of view?
There's really no change as laid down by JAMB on direct entry and the requirement. However, we are aware that some private institutions have their own internal mechanism, policy, and requirements which they follow, and oftentimes JAMB have no hand in that. But the guidelines are clear. If you have attained certain academic qualification and you have done your proper registration, it's pretty a straightforward path if you follow the guidelines. There's no hard and fast rule. Nothing has changed significantly in terms of the policy for admission. Now, let me say what a lot of people don't even know that JAMB, especially Professor Oluyede, is doing. JAMB has a unit within their workflow, which is actually not their primary responsibility. But I have had a situation where someone who is looking for admission or direct entry, or even somebody who have a cutoff mark that is above the requirement and is struggling with getting admission. I have seen and engaged Professor Oluyede make call to this institution and say, look, JAMB has cleared this person. You have no right not to admit this person. And I can tell you that 199% of the 100% effort that he has made has yielded results, And so most people who are complaining about some of the challenges in this admission process, and I'm not dismissing that. There are challenges, no doubt, but most people don't do the needful, and they want to circumvent. I'll give you a very touching story of how someone within my own system had told me, "Oh, my child has this 120. He has the cutoff mark, and they are refusing to give the person admission." Do you know? I followed this person. We went to the vice chancellor. I won't call the university, of this university, and I was fuming, shouting, and they came out and then told the person, "So, what was your child's score?" He told me a lie. He said, "Oh, it's 90." They said, "Okay, what you're looking for is 120 cutoff mark, so you can't get that admission."
All right, Mr. Pele, thank you for sharing that story. I can imagine, your thoughts and expression when you realized, what happened there. Let's quickly take this call.
Exactly.
We have Majokora
it's important to say. I think it's important to say what I.
Okay. Can we say it after the call, please? Yes, when we come back. Good morning, Mazi. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning. Well, you see, we have come to a situation in the country that there are three major things we normally fix now in Nigeria: politics, economy, and educational system. But the question now is that let's face the reality of life, do the needful for the progress of everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry, irrespective of wherever you belong. That should be the best option for Nigeria. The earlier we do it, the better we do it. The better we look inward, the better for us. Good morning, Mazi Okafor from Orange. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi. So, Mr. Pele, yes, land on what you wanted to say, and then I'll quickly take you through my next question.
Yeah, my dear, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed, and this is what I did. And I've done that to my own relation, okay? Oh, uncle, please call JAMB. What's your score? Oh, well, I didn't need the cutoff mark. I said, go back, go and retake JAMB. So right there and then, I told this person who worked for me, he has worked for me for 20 years, we sent the child back to go and take another examination. Incidentally, he passed, and today that boy is a graduate. You know, I think parents should have enough take the hard decisions of making these children do what is right. A relation of mine had approached me and said, "Oh, uncle, they are looking for 150,000 to give me admission." That is not a problem. It won't break the bank. However, I put my foot down, go back, retake the exam, and do the needful. So these are some of the things we have to do and insist to make this society better. If
all right,
we
but what
compromise, and I'll say this, whatever you compromise to gain, you will eventually lose.
All right, we have George calling from Ikeja. Good morning, George. Thank you for joining us.
And good morning to Mr. Ed.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
That there was no high level of trust on JAMB before now until the Professor Oloyede took over. But he brought in technology, and there has been an improvement in the recruitment system, to our universities. One observation I've made is that because of that distrust, vice chancellors and universities generally decided to be conducting a separate examination before students are admitted, even when JAMB has already screened them and admitted. Now that the technology has taken root and improvements have come to the JAMB system of recruitment, I think that second exam they do is not necessary. Because the accusation of corruption and all that they leveled against JAMB is also taking place in universities now. They have what they call, I'm sure Mr. Pele will know what I'm talking about, they have what they call VCs list and all that, where they use to admit people that are not being admitted, not based on merit, like JAMB would do. So let that one stop. I don't have issues. Madam, can you hear me?
I can hear you, George.
Yes. I don't have issues with the age limitations. Somebody should have a body maturity level to withstand higher education. But there are some children that are gifted with it. There are some geniuses that do not require a very matured body because, education is basically a function of the intellect. They came with developed intellect and they can, withstand such pressures. The parents have a duty to come and prove that this is an exceptional child and those ones can be admitted. So the way the JAMB is doing it, I think I agree with it. That's just what I have to say on this. Thank you.
All right, George, thank you very much. We're wrapping up the conversation, Mr. Epeli. I know that, the criteria that JAMB will then have to release to confirm the veracity of what parents or guardians are saying about their child who has been termed exceptional would be another issue. But when we get to that bridge, as they say, we will cross it. As we wrap up the conversation, Mr. Epeli, I want us to talk about cutoff marks for admission into tertiary institutions. It keeps dropping. And then while it does appear as though it allows for access for more people, there are also questions about if this is a sign of dwindling educational standard in Nigeria. I'd like you to speak to that as a wrap-up.
It is. And I'm not a promoter of such downgrading. And I'm going to boldly say this, in this country, there are certain regions, there are certain states where the standard is lowered grossly. And the reason that they are giving is that they are the most marginalized in terms of education. And that is does not in any way promote participation. It does not. And the earlier we realize and begin to insist on merit and ensure that the person who truly have these academic qualification and capacity are given the opportunity to gain access, and then encourage those who are struggling to go back and do more. It does not in any way promote equal education. That's not equal education. That's not equality. Equity demonstrates equality in its integral, in all ramifications. So lowering, saying, for instance, people in the north, you can be admitted with 25%, and people in the south, you can be admitted with 65%. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Remember that the two people that you're trying to give this unequal opportunities will one day meet in certain offices where their capacities will be tested. And that's the problem we have today, So you don't come to me and say, well, I'm a person without ability. For that reason, I must get admission. No, you have to qualify just like any other person. There's nothing wrong with your brain. Yes, there may be some challenges in the way and manner you attend education. Please go through those challenges as God will give you the strength.
All right, Mr.
Get the
Pele.
basic qualification.
Okay, yes. That's well noted. Thank you so much for taking our time to join us and sharing with us on this issue today and this morning. My guest has been J.K. Pele. He is a policy and governance analyst as well as an education access advocate. Many thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you. And thank you for TVC. Thank you for spotlighting these issues, and continue to do the best that you're doing. And God bless you.
Thank you. Well, that's our conversation for today. We thank you very much for being a part of it. Remember, you can watch a repeat broadcast at 4 a.m. and you can watch this on YouTube, TVC News Nigeria. That is the YouTube channel. I am Abosadi Adeniro Aderemi. Enjoy the